What is up, everybody? It's me, Duke Farley, back at it again here on Lost at Sea. And today I am doing a little bonus coverage of Ascendance Live Season 3. I believe it was episode 8 last week, 8 or 9. And we jumped the gun, myself and Jodely. We hopped on and started talking about the episode before we saw the announcement of the Boomerang buyback competition, which super excited to get to see one of the first 8 players eliminated from the game have the chance to buy back in. So I want to talk about some things about this competition, and in terms of who do I want to see back in the game, who do I think has the best shot to get back into the game based on competition performance, and some fun things from the preseason interviews I did. I did ask a question specifically about competitions, like what would you dominate at? So I went back and looked at all of those answers from the 8 people that are going to be participating in this. And I want to relay that to you guys. Unless you want to go check it out on the channel, I can link it here. Those are always fun to watch. But before we get into that, I want to make an announcement here on my channel about Ascendance Live, the Patreon. If you want some more in-depth coverage of what's going on behind the scenes, what's been going on in the jury house, all that kind of good stuff, I would go over to Ascendance Live Patreon and sign up. I don't know what the basic tiers are and what you get specifically, but I'll put a screenshot here for that. Go ahead and sign into that, because I think a lot of the coverage that you see behind the scenes can keep you a little bit more informed and give you a better idea of what's kind of going on in that house, and even some more coverage. I'm sure Papa or Nicole can comment on this video on what else you get, and I think it's listed on their Patreon. Before we get into who I think has the best shot of coming into the game, I want to talk about the history of the buyback and Ascendance. It's only been done once. And I distinctly remember watching it because a lot of the jurors that were in that season, which was Ascendance 7 All-Stars, a lot of the people that were in that buyback competition were pretty bitter towards the people that were in the game and were trashing them along the way, which was fun to watch back. And I think that it was the only time that that's happened, that a buyback has happened. And 2 friends of the podcast, actually, Scott Link and Peyton Dow, went for hours in an endurance competition, holding plastic cups, I believe it was. So is that going to be the same case for this buyback? I don't know. They kind of alluded to nothing in terms of what the competition would be. And if you have a inkling or a guess on what you think it is, I put up a poll on my channel. You can check on the community tab and vote with what you would want to see. Do you want to see something endurance? Do you want to see something strategic, mental, social, memory? I don't know. But yeah, let's get into, I am big into sports betting. So I went and made a list of the 8 contestants that are going into this competition. And after looking through the preseason interviews and also looking at the tab that I've been compiling throughout the season in terms of how people have been doing in the challenges, I made kind of like sports odds, betting odds on who I think has the best shot to get back in the game. And this is without knowing what the competition is. So completely speculative. It's a fun little thing. And I want to go through each of these contestants and tell you what their strengths are in competition in terms of what they said to me when we were talking. And first I'll start off with Adam, which I have as a plus 120 to get back into the game. His strengths, he said, were party games, pool challenges he learned recently. I think he competed in a live game prior to coming to Ascendance Live, where he was good at, diving to the bottom of a pool for stuff. And he said that he's pretty good at endurance challenges. So I am leaning towards, I think this is going to be an endurance challenge. So I think it's going to be up his wheelhouse. But I could be completely wrong. He did mention his weaknesses were puzzles, which a lot of the people that are in this right now, that's their strength. So if that happens to be what it is, I feel like that could tank Adam. Connor, I have the lowest rated right now just because if we go back in history, Connor was a part of the buyback in season 7 of the org, and he opted out because he was kind of like everybody else has a little bit more skin in the game and kind of wants it a little bit more. So he kind of took the backseat approach and dropped his cups and said, you guys go for it. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case here because I think Connor probably wants to get back in the game. But when I was talking to Connor in his preseason interview, he was very much saying that he's not great at competitions. And of course, Connor and Adam didn't have their chance to prove themselves too much in competitions as they were the first 2 people out. So they didn't get to win one. But I will say, if this buyback is cartoon knowledge, that is what Connor's strengths is. Do I think it will be? Probably not. I think it's a long shot. So I have Connor here at plus 350. Then we move on to Erica, who mentioned, being really good at puzzles. Boggle was a thing. She won, I think, a captain's challenge that had to do with, the unscrambling of words. So I think I have her at plus 175 to get back in the game. I think she could be very good at puzzles in general. So if this is a puzzle or some sort of mental competition, I think she is one of the favorites. Then we go to Chaos Keaton. He mentioned in his interview not being great at any of the competitions. He did win a captain's challenge with Kira, with the water tossing stuff. So that was, I think, in part, he had a partner there. But I have Keaton as plus 250 to get back in the game. Then we have Madison, who I think was the funniest in the edit that Matthew Papa did. She said, "There's no way in hell I'm getting back in this thing." Her strong suit is puzzles, but then again, when we talked about it, she said that sometimes she psychs herself out with that. So we'll see. This seems like kind of a pressure cooker to get back in here. And then, so I have her at plus 300. And then we have Emily, who said that she was great at escape rooms and memory. So I think that's pretty, no one else mentioned that. So if that's the case, I feel like she has a great chance to get back in the game, which would be plus 160 for her on odds, in my opinion. The next 2 are my favorites to get back in the game just because of their longevity in the game, their competitions in this season so far, and what they said that they were good at. Billy, I have as the odds-on favorite to get back into the game at minus 110. Says he's good at music, puzzles, flip cup, endurance, all that good stuff. So I think that is a great umbrella to get him that extra nod in. And I feel like he had a fire in his belly to get back in, right? He really wants it. Obviously blindsided here a couple rounds ago. So it's fresh. He's got that motivation. And then AJ, you can't pass him up at minus 150. He actually is the odds-on favorite. Billy is second, I think, at minus 150. AJ, prior to last round, didn't lose a competition in the game. I know he had 4 team challenge wins, so that's not all him, but he was on the winning team 4 times, and he did it himself 3 times, 2 captain wins, and then I think he was safe during the food chain. So those are my odds. Who do I want to see get back in the game? I'd love to see Billy, number 1, get back in the game because I feel like it would be fun to see a little rivalry brewing between Josh and Billy with the pendant. I don't think AJ's story is finished here, so I'd love to see him get back in. Obviously, he was pendant of powered out of the game. one vote sent him home. And then I think the other two that I would love to see would be Emily or Adam. I think Adam would be fun because I feel like he hates a lot of the people in the game right now that voted him out. And I think he could stir the pot a little bit, cause a little chaos. And then Emily, I feel like also was targeted for being a little messy, but a lot of her allies are still in. So it would be fun to see if she could reconnect and kind of figure out a way forward, But those are my thoughts on this buyback. I wanted to come on here and talk about it and give you guys a little bit of my inklings and what I think could happen, not knowing what the competition is, obviously. So we have no basis to go off of. It's just speculation here. And I'm excited for Thursday, and I hope to see all of you guys in the live chat. Go ahead and comment what you think. Who would you put your money on in this situation to get back in? And check out Ascendance live Patreon. I'll put links for that and all the preseason interviews if you want to see how these people answered this question of what challenge would they dominate at. I'll put the link to that playlist in the bio as well. Thank you as always for tuning in. Let's get lost.